Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome back to another day of the World Youth Teams Championships in Veldhoven. I am joined here by Asaf Yekuteli and Dana Berkowitz, and I believe Robert Todd and Tracey Bauer will potentially be coming by later as well. So, morning everybody.
Morning.
Right.
Good morning, all. I'm joined here with my cat Amelia in my lap, so if she comes and makes an appearance, it'll be a special day.
Nice. And we do not currently, there we go. We do not currently have U16 view graph, so I was hopeful that we would be able to show the USA 1, USA 2 under 16 matchup, but it doesn't seem that that is currently being shown. So we're going to give this a try, and since we have Asaf here, who is from Israel, we might as well focus on a very strong matchup in the U26s. So, yes, and welcome, Tracey.
Good morning, Tracey.
So,
Good morning.
Oren and Ami, who is the East-West pair, have had a good deal of success in both U.S. and international tournaments, as have Tim and Oscar, who are North-South here. So Tim van de Pavert and Oscar Dyson. So I guess, Asaf, you know Oren and Ami fairly well, I assume?
Yeah, we're best friends. They're going to be representing Israel in the Bermuda Bowl soon. So now it's a good opportunity to warm up and gather some success, although this has been proving difficult today.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll be tuned in and see how they recover.
Yes.
This is a very exciting hand to kick us off, huh?
Yeah.
It is. The North Hand is. It feels like one of those that you open two clubs on principle, but even if you were to open at a heart, it would not go all pass. It's just that you wouldn't really be able to get the full playing strength of the hand across, right?
And it is a one-suited hand, so you're not that concerned about not being able to show it.
Mm-hmm.
So South probably two clubs, I guess, is a two-way bid. It's either weakened clubs or strong. And South catered for the weak option, bidding four clubs, trying to steal the Cupid.
No, I think it is just a strong bid for them, and that four clubs was just sort of natural and forward going.
You can check. I'm pretty sure they played two-way.
Okay. Yeah,
Can we see the alert?
No, unfortunately, we don't. We get the information that they did alert it, but it is up to us to guess what that alert might be.
We can all give our own best guesses and then find out later who was right.
Right, exactly. We sort of ask the audience and take a poll and figure it out, and and whoever gets it right gets a small prize. I don't know. Let's see.
You can bet on anything,
You really
and
can.
this bridge playing crowd is definitely a betting crowd.
Yeah.
Yes, you are right, Asaf. It is a week 2 in clubs or any game force. So
6 hearts just strikes me as a very practical bid here. If he's not sure what 4-0 necessarily is, or maybe it's.
I would think it's an odd number of key cards with the void. The void he couldn't show
right
beneath the
spades,
6th level.
perhaps.
An odd number of key cards with a spade void. Okay.
Yes.
So over 4-0, is it standard? Asaf like to play 6 clubs is, like what are the responses with voids?
So I'm used to playing the opposite convention, that bidding 5-0 shows an odd number of key cards and jumping to the 6th level to a comfortable 6th level spot that will allow you to, not go overboard and maybe cater for asking further would show an even number of key cards with a void. When it's assumed your partner can guess the identity of this void.
I would say for anybody out there who's playing void showing responses to 4-0 Trump, that's a good thing to talk to your partner about. There are, I feel, generational differences in what the norms are. about
Yeah.
those responses. Sounds like the voice of experience, and it definitely is on that
Yeah.
one.
So the mnemonic I use is that 5 is odd, therefore odd number of keycards.
Yes, and just a quick note for the U16s, I don't think we're going to be getting view graph for that, from what I can tell. But USA 1 USA 2 are playing each other in the under 16 division. And USA 2 is currently leading by a small amount going into the final set. So should be exciting to watch by, I guess, furiously refreshing the results page rather than seeing a play-by-play. So
I would say that is certainly a tradition of our watching of USBF events and World EBL events in the United States, that sometimes, if the American matches aren't being shown, we get to watch by the refresh button.
yes.
Good times.
Yes.
Good times.
It's a brief bursts of probably greater excitement, followed by long periods of nothingness, versus sort of a slow and steady excitement here. But
So we haven't
So
really
here
talked
North
much-
could try to. So here North could try for the strip squeeze against West in the minors.
yeah,
So he has an interesting play problem.
does, and I feel like you probably do want to draw. I mean, especially because East also overcalled 3 spades. I think you probably are. The rough idea would be to draw trumps and perhaps play 4 rounds of diamonds, worst case, and I believe East should be in a lot of trouble on that 4th diamond. But when East shows out in trump, now you sort of
Then you
switch
have no
gears
problems.
and say, okay, now I can just rough my loser because East isn't going to have 6 diamonds for their 3 spade bid. And so that'll be making 7. Yeah, so Tim and Oscar, I don't believe they're yet on the Dutch national team, but it's very cool that Oren and me are. And who's the rest of the Israeli team? It's Tomer.
We have Bierman and Padon.
Mm-hmm.
And Roland Levine.
Okay, nice. So yes,
Yeah,
that's
they're a very strong pair. They don't play much professionally, but they did make an appearance in the recent nationals.
Yes, I played against them in day 3
Yeah,
of the
yeah, you
National
did.
Swiss there. Yes, they're nice guys.
Very nice guys, and hopefully a strong team.
Definitely. And the rest of this team here on the U26 side, this is...
So we have Banieri and Lonstein. We're a new partnership, very talented guys. And we have Zajtek and Hutolski. They're a well-established partnership and a powerhouse of the junior tournaments.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I guess I've played against all of them at various times.
I think you did, yeah.
Yes. Always.
So on this hand, is it junior permissible to pass with the East hand in first seed, or but below a certain age, are you supposed to be a little bit more adventurous here?
It doesn't. The problem is that it doesn't really feel like there's an adventurous option that really describes my hand well, right?
That's true.
I'm all for adventure, but I'd like to be able to feel like I'm getting my money's worth if I'm going to do something out there. And this hand, especially with the King of Spades rather than King of Hearts, unless I have a way to open and show both majors, there's not an easy and clean way to show this hand by opening the bidding, and later on I can hopefully get one or both of my suits in there. I mean, hearing 2 spades over my 2 heart bid here has you almost start thinking slam, to be quite honest.
I was gonna say, if you had 1 bid now, would it be 6 spades?
Not quite, because I think the one no bid gives me a little bit of pause that maybe we have a diamond loser. Partner's not always going to have a singleton heart. Four spades is practical. I'm not sure that we could ever really find out when partner has the perfecto. But yeah, and welcome, Robert. Thank you for joining.
Hey, everybody. Good morning.
Morning.
Right. And we see a very practical lead from North on an auction like this, where the opponents have bid a couple suits and then raised one to game. It's very clear that they have shortness in each other's other suits, so leading trumps to cut down on roughs seems like a good idea. And so, it looks like Declare will probably win this and start trying to rough hearts, because that's their longer suit, and if their goal here is probably to make the dummy good, and assuming that they can do that, they'll be able to probably lose 2 hearts and a spade and make their contract.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe only 1 heart, because East could return a spade, but it would be sacrificing a trump trick. So they may be able to actually take those 3 roughs in the dummy, or in their hand, which would establish the heart suit, and they have the ace of clubs and 2 trump roughs, or 2 little trumps in the dummy as their 3 entries for those roughs. And it's an interesting choice from Oscar here. He knows that Declarer has all of the remaining spades, and that if they're going to be roughing hearts, then we want to stop them from roughing hearts, and by playing the jack of spades, it ensures that his 8 will still take a trick if Declarer is successfully roughing hearts.
It's a nice play when you can force Declare to rough with their strong trump and promote your spot card back.
Exactly. And yeah, and it comes up quite often, right? That rather than returning, let's say, the 8 of spades, where you give up your trump trick and you sort of help, you're helping Declare on multiple fronts. You turn the jack, and now this rough is going to promote the 8 of spades as a trick. Unfortunately for him, it's his 3rd trick and not 4th trick.
Yes. You also give Declare a moment of excitement in hope that it's jack, that the 8's going to fall on their left when you play the jack, right? But
I suppose, although when North led the Queen of Spades, it's probably
fair enough. Probably not from Queen of 1.
I mean, they might, but I would think that North would lead low from Queen of 1.
So did we have a swing on the first board?
We did a big swing of 1 imp. Looks like the other table was in 6 hearts just making. So perhaps they...
I don't think it was 76-41 on the first board. So
yes. So it looks like they led a spade, and so then they played ace king and rough to diamond. And eventually played for a squeeze of sorts. So they played perhaps a bit overcautiously, but certainly warranted, given that they were in slam. So,
slam board on board 1 is always a little unnerving in a team match.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Getting settled in. It's board 1 of the day. You're hoping for 1-no, 3-no, 10 easy tricks, kind of thing.
Board 1 of your day. This is actually this is their
fair
third
enough. Fair enough.
So it's board 1 of our day, and board, I guess, 29 of all of the players' days.
All right, they're in a groove at this point.
And when you're down 30-something imps, you do hope for juicy boards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so here, do we think West's double is sort of a game try, or
It is a game try, yes. West has a pretty a big hand for his limited opening, and he tries for game.
and or an me play a strong club, right? So
They play a strong club, yeah.
their one spade is limited to 15 high cards,
To 50.
making making a game try with this feel a little bit more appropriate versus if we were, let's say, playing standard, where we would open and yes, we're 5-5, but we have a minimum 5-5, right?
Exactly.
This is an interesting sort of. So he guesses the spade. I guess it's a little surprising. Even I mean, I guess it makes sense a little bit. But when they don't lead their partner, when they don't lead the suit that they've bid and raised, sometimes you do sort of have in the back of your head, oh, maybe they have the ace, right?
Yeah. On the other hand, they could be concerned that the ace of spades has to be won or lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So yeah, I mean here, Declare is up. They're up to 9 tricks now, right? But they still, even if they manage to pitch their club on the king of spades, they still have 3 diamond losers to deal with. So it'll be very, very hard to imagine them able to come up to 10, but 9 seems very likely at this point.
From North's perspective, South's King Jack 4th of spades is pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As his,
You have some diamond cards, partner, please.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, here, South hand is pretty bad for those. Perhaps you could make a case that South should not have raised to 3 hearts with such a defensive spade holding, and so little offense outside of the King Jack 3rd of hearts.
I think that's pretty deep. Looks pretty normal, right?
Well, the worry is that when you raise to 3 hearts and it goes 4 spades, 5 hearts, you really feel pretty terrible, right? And you have 3 low and Jack 3rd in the minors, which means that if partner has any sort of 2-suiter, you have a bad hand for them. I'm going to guess that was a misclaim by the operator and that they in fact took 9 tricks. It is remotely possible, perhaps, that they tried a diamond to the 8 and took 8, but
I mean, the 6 of diamonds could be good as well. We don't really have the diamond spots.
Yes, but as long as they lead a diamond from the dummy first, they're okay, right? Because now they
I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess they can still.
They have to be a bit careful, but as long as they don't touch diamonds, they're good.
Right, exactly. Yeah, okay. So it actually may have been 8 tricks at the table.
Yeah.
And so what do we think with the South hand? How do we sort of evaluate this opposite a presumably 15 to 17 strong no trump?
To me, it looks like a sign off.
In 2, 4?
In 2.
Okay. Yes. Robert, Dana?
Rebidding 3 doesn't seem insane to me, but I mean, partner's got to have the right stuff for you today. But
partner has an absolute moose, and it could still be beaten, although it wouldn't be in practice today, right?
Right.
And partner has like,
yes,
like partner almost might super accept because partner 10 is so good.
But I mean, also rebidding 3 might keep them out of for all you know, they can make something here, right? So
they can make something, right? They can make they can, and perhaps South will sort of get a little hint at this when they bid 2 diamonds past 2 hearts, and now East makes a takeout double, right? Now perhaps they bid a more competitive 3 hearts.
Yeah, this I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree.
And
but I agree that this hand is just too hard to value because it's so worthless opposite, king and 1 or any doubleton really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, partner also doesn't really. The big thing is partner has 3 little clubs opposite your singleton, right? That they have no wastage at all in the club suit, and that's a rarity considering that they've opened an out trump.
Yes.
So it's definitely yeah. I mean,
so Oscar is thinking it over.
Yes. Oscar is a thoughtful player sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I've induced a couple 10-minute tanks out of him before. So,
does that make you happy or sad when that happens?
It makes me.
It
happy.
makes me sad.
Okay, so we have the full spectrum here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it makes Adam happy. I know.
Yes,
So
yes, very much so.
Today, at least, makes me
right,
sad.
exactly. So
okay.
So it looks like he's
he
chosen.
went even higher. I did with South African here.
Yeah, most likely. And the double from.
And now we can set it.
Yeah. Well, the double from a me is interesting because I need a little bit of restraint as East, not to bid out to 5 clubs. 1 and 2. It actually has a chance to get East off to the actual winning lead, which is of course a low club. But
well, he could
play the ace of spades and switch.
Right, exactly. Like. He has a much better chance of all of these things, if he actually hears that.
So, do we think 4 diamonds here is cooperation without a club control?
It's certainly
would be cooperation. No cooperation without a club control.
And you have, but the thing is, you kind of. I guess it's a question of whether you always have to redouble with a club control, or.
Well, I think 4 hearts could be a minimum with a club control, and redouble could be a maximum with a club control.
Mm-hmm.
You have plenty of space here to within steps to show all the hands, mins and maxes without club controls and with club controls.
This is true.
Mm.
Presumably, they've talked about if you're going to play. If you're going to play the South African, you probably talk about what does it mean when we double and so on. So East is going to need to figure out how to tell partner to shift to a spade right now.
Jack of clubs.
Jack, yeah.
Yes, and West will look at this and see that this is a little strange. I wonder what partner wants me to do. Oh, spades.
Yes.
And,
yeah.
It's not diamonds.
Yes. And he should make it probably. I guess. I mean, he can shift to either Jack or low, but probably if he shifts to the 4, it shouldn't be too hard for East to still read this. So,
as a matter of principle here, do you think the 4 could ever be from 3 little, or would you play top of 3 little here?
Well, they play slightly differently. They play Polish style returns. They play
second and fourth,
second from any 3-card holding, and fourth from 4-card holding, and second from doubletons.
Mm-hmm.
So on the shift to the 6, they would play low from their doubletons as well.
Yeah.
So
non-honor doubletons.
So what's the appropriate false card from South when it goes 6 low? I guess East will have to guess if that 6 is from 9-6 or
right, which I think in Polish style that means that Ami is supposed to shift to the Jack of Spades.
Right? I think so.
Because it get
oh no!
did not work out that this is
No.
what they needed, which is perhaps a little surprising because the Jack of clubs, when declarer follows with the 9, really should have alarm bells ringing that partner wants me, like, partner certainly doesn't want a club continuation and wants me to do something unusual. Probably, the only unusual thing there is to work with here is, of course, in the spade suit. So,
in his defense, he might have
He was not
expected
anticipating such a weak
a
hand.
little more. Yes, exactly, from South. But at match points, I think this is a harder play. But at imps, you might just shrug and.
mm-hmm. Yes.
So I see we had a swing on board 2.
We did. Israel picked up 11, as the other table played in 4 spades, doubled 1 down, which is interesting in that
So I think a club lead will have given him some trouble.
Right, because that takes out a dummy entry.
An entry. Yeah.
And I see.
So as it happened, the spade lead didn't take out an entry.
Right. Well, that end, it looks like declarer played on a full cross rough line, which then meant that, declarer played on a full cross rough line and got themselves into a position where they had no choice but to promote the Jack of Spades in South. It's actually kind of an interesting.
So I'm not sure if he could make on a club lead playing on a line similar to the one we saw here.
Yeah,
and really have to count it.
Right, exactly. It's not at all clear.
It's definitely more difficult.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Yes. Well, and I think declarer might have done well to cash 1 trump as it turned out, because that would have avoided avoided a lot of risk here.
Avoid losing one of the overruffs in the short trump hand, I think, is what probably doomed him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the on this club lead declared, they know that South does not have the ace, so they have no reason to put up the king, and so now they'll be able to actually rough out the ace of clubs. The interesting thing is that they're a little bit short on dummy entries if they start drawing trumps before testing diamonds, right? So it's very likely that they may still have to lose a diamond trick, even though they can theoretically pick up the diamond suit. And a question from chat, would you consider 4 clubs rather than this 4 spade bid here as West?
So I remind you that 1 spade is limited.
Yes, that's a very important distinction, right? In a 2/1 system, probably this would be, I would think this is strong enough to actually bid 4 clubs.
I think it's very close in a 2/1 scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but when playing versus a limited opening, you just have to cater for not a super maximum, but an actual hand, and they are hard to come by.
Right. I mean,
so for me, this is
Sorry, go ahead.
For me, this is a little bit more clear as a cubid because when you got the 3 clubs bid, you no longer have an invitational 3. Like, if you had an invitational 3 spade bid the first time, you don't have that bid anymore. So you would bid 4 spades. You're kind of stuck and locked out of this. I mean, I guess you could bid 3 diamonds or 3 hearts over 3 clubs, but that's not really what that is. So I think 4 spades starts with a limit raise, and so this is too much. You have too much of a chance of having slam in that context.
Depends on how aggressive you are with your limit raises there, right? Sort of split if you bid 4 spades with all limit raises and just hope it makes, or you bid 4 spades with only your good limit raises, things like that.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that if we move the king of clubs into any other suit, then I think it's pretty clearly a 4 club bid. If we, however, when with the king of clubs, I think it is quite close. just because our hand. Yes, we have ace king ace, but we don't have that much more. The king of clubs isn't necessarily fantastic. So I would bid 4 clubs,
Yeah.
but I think because I think 3 key cards is enough to where partner's just not going to be able to move when it's right. But I would bid 4 clubs and feel like I'd shown my hand in full and not cooperate any further. Right.
Yeah, certainly.
I agree with that. But I still also think the king of clubs is a card that your partner also doesn't have. So your hand is it's not irrelevant to you that you have the king of clubs.
Right.
Right. It shows. Yeah.
Partner could have 2 little clubs and it could be an important card. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
I wouldn't think we're in a good position if partner has 2 small clubs.
But just generally, your partner's 11 count that he opened with as a minimum does not include the king of clubs.
Right.
He doesn't.
We hope.
Brilliant deduction. Brilliant.
This is the kind of analysis that I'm here for.
Good.
Putting your full lawyering skills to work.
Did you or did you not have the king of clubs, sir?
And both of them pipe up and say yes, and you look at them and one of you is lying.
Yeah, but I will say that this is one of the hands that limited opening makes really easy to sort out.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yes. And so here we see North has a bit of a forced bid, but also a bit of a rebid problem, right? You could imagine if it was just a slightly weaker hand, you might try to actually rebid 2 clubs and then bid 2 or 3 spades on your next round of bidding, assuming one exists, right?
Yeah.
The auction is timed out nicely for them with partner having diamonds instead of clubs, quite surprisingly.
Mm-hmm. Right, well, because now and now South, of course, knowing that over 3 spades, it really looks like partner has a singleton heart. I don't know that partner has to though, right? Because if North didn't have a heart card and just had honor and 1 spade, wouldn't
3 hearts maybe? Would you bid 3 hearts to leave your partner room to bid 3 spades with 5 of them?
I don't know. This is a bit of a style thing. I think that it is probably not talked about enough in partnerships of how these auctions sort of
I think it is a very important thing to discussion. What's our default bid in such situations? How do we express doubt about the final contract? And for me, it would be 3 spades.
Yeah. I mean, I think the challenge, right, is that if you had the same hand with a small doubleton heart and perhaps the queen of spades in the club suit or something, right? You imagine you had king and 1 too small in the majors. You'd be reluctant. You don't want to bid 3 no. If 3 hearts shows something in hearts, you don't want to do that.
That is the question, whether the 4th suit shows something or is your default bid there.
Right. And I actually think it makes sense to have it be default, because if you had a fragment or something in hearts, you probably would just bid 3 now, right? So here
I generally like to play the cheaper of the 2 as kind of the default there, but
yeah. Well, and so South, of course, knows that assuming that 3 hearts would be the default, right? Then North is very likely 3-1-5-4, and they did. I mean, they even if they asked for key cards, they would find out they were off too. But getting to 5 diamonds is a good result there.
Yep.
Yeah. They judged very well, I thought, not to explore more for slam, given the known shapes and the fitting cards in the south hand.
Well,
or maybe
North felt like that. After having jump shifted and bid 3 spades, when partner bid 4 diamonds, they kind of did. They're a minimum for all of their actions, despite having a very good hand, right?
At match point, would you have bid 4 spades with the south hand?
I would have bid 4 spades with the north hand.
With the north hand. Okay.
Yes. And so
Oh,
here,
that's a good question. Over 4 diamonds, is 4 spades an offer to play?
yes, I think so.
It is.
I think so as well.
And with
You
this
have to
hand,
win
in
four
fact, I
hearts.
think that's what I would choose. Certainly at match points.
But that's also a good point, Robert. It's another area where you and your partner might not be on the same page about when four of a major is an offer to play after you found a minor suit fit.
Right. For someone is it a control?
Yes. Yes.
And now,
So here we see a very basically a cold slam for North South. So I would imagine when partner opens the bidding vulnerable and North has a 21 count, they're not going to be stopping short of slam, and will probably be a little bit disappointed to find out that they're off a key card, and all of the alerting and whatever else that's going on. It's anybody's guess, but we're pretty sure that North is going to bid a bunch more and eventually find themselves in 6 hearts.
yes.
So presumably South more or less showed that he's minimum roughly his shape. One hopes.
I would guess so.
Yeah.
And probably, if that's the case, North is counting out the steps, trying to figure out,
How do we key card?
Right, like is this the 0733? Like, really?
Yeah. Or is it the
or is it the
3730
where
Yeah,
we're told for a
exactly.
grant?
They're dreaming of
And what's the mulberry structure here?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I guess I would think that they probably have some sort of end signal, and then other things are maybe step 1 is key card for the longest suit. So after the end, so 4 spades maybe is an end signal,
Presumably to stop, yeah.
Like so some of these relay auctions especially when you sort of are when you get past 3-0 and start getting into like 4 diamonds, 4 hearts, get a little scary. But
beyond 4 diamonds is the dangerous. When the answer is 4 hearts, things get very dangerous. When the answer is 4 clubs or 4 diamonds, it's much easier to maintain.
Well, to be fair, it is a little bit less scary when you have a 21 count and you really.
That's true.
So Ami chose a good lead here of a club, but unfortunately will only get 1 trick for his trouble.
Saving 1 imp instead of 13.
Yes. So this will. I would assume this should be a pretty flat board across the field, right? South has a normal opening bid, and North has a normal drive to slam, and as long as nobody has any crazy adventures,
right?
Yeah.
This could be more interesting in the under 16.
It could be. Let me.
7 hearts from the South is not a bad contract. I mean,
well, if you told me you have to tell me where the ace of clubs
I'm just saying, the cards lie.
You start by telling me where the ace of
card
clubs
and
is.
smoothly bid 7. Are they going to lead from the queen? I mean,
I don't know. So this was that board, by the way, board 7 was a push in the under 16s. It was a win 1 for USA 1 because 1 table led a diamond, 1 table led a club, and so as of right now, the scores in the under 16s, since we don't have those we don't have the view graph for that. Currently, it is 77 for USA 1 and 102 for USA 2. So USA 2's still winning the 3rd set as well. So we will see if they can hold off a last-minute charge. They started out this week being dead last after 3 rounds of the round robin in the under 16s. Had a fantastic comeback to make it to the 8th qualifying place in the round robin, and
8th of 8, yes.
Yes, of 8. And have certainly done themselves proud in the knockout stage. So that's very cool.
Okay, so We had a simple auction beginning with a strong club. So in this vulnerability, the balanced range of one club started 16 for them. So it was an easy one club opener, and from that they proceeded with a natural auction to 3 hearts.
Mm-hmm. This double being sort of a like 5 to 7 type
Semi-positive, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A date, maybe.
Yeah. And so, you know, they have 3 obvious losers and then a slow club loser. And so this should be a good stop and just making, I would think.
Yeah.
And sorry if that.
So this time around, 3-no doesn't make, which is good news.
Yes, that is true. Because the defense can cash can build the spade trick and cash 5 before declare can get yes. But I would imagine at many tables it will actually go 1-no all pass, right?
Yeah.
That, you know, if you don't have a strong club and if you're not playing a weaker no trump range, you often, you know, you would just open the west hand to no trump and nobody else would have anything to say. And
I guess a 14 to 16 opener would definitely upgrade this one, and essentially no 15-17 opener will.
Probably I would I don't know. I talked about this yesterday a little bit. I really hate upgrading out of 1-no trump openers unless I really have
exactly.
It.
But
And
14 to 16, this hand is just too good, I guess.
I'm actually not sure it is, right? Because you have a couple jacks, and you know you don't really have much in the way of spot cards. Like, I think you're allowed to have a good maximum. Like, I honestly I think I would open in no trump still, even 14.
So for us, for none of us would the 5-card major stop us from opening 1-no trump anyway, audience members. But is there a number of cards in a major that's too many to open 1-no trump?
8.
Seven's in the game, Adam?
I know, 7 2 2 2. It's in the game.
Sometimes, yeah.
8,
so
however, is a bridge too far.
I've been told I no longer have license to open my 1-no trump or 2-no trump with 6-card majors. Obviously, with 6-card minors, all is fair in love and war. But 6-card majors, I'm now told, is not in my range by the powers that be in my life.
Well, the important part is that Puppet Stamen asks for a 4 or 5-card major.
Yes.
And it does not ask about 6 or 7.
You don't have to disclose.
Exactly. And just a quick note: the other table got a bit too high on board 5, and actually went 1 down in 6 spades. So that's another 11 imps to Israel, and the gap is now down to just 11 imps, which is quite a good start to this set.
How did they defend it? Did they get diamond rough? Did they find like a creative lead?
Yes, they led the 3 of clubs to the ace, and a diamond came back. So that was well done by Tomer there. Why is this? This is off slightly today. My old hand thing is slightly off today for some reason. So basically, they let a suit preference 3 of clubs. Partner looked at this and said, "Oh, this is a very strange lead given that you bid 3 clubs. You must want a rough. Where do you want a rough? Well, you let a low one, so probably in diamonds." So that was well done by the Israeli pair to beat this and avoid giving declare even any chance of getting it right. And here we see sort of kind of a standard reverse type auction, I guess, where North South now find themselves in 3-0, which certainly on a heart lead feels pretty reasonable. The 10 of spades, in fact, is actually a pretty big card, as the defense can take 4 tricks, but not 5, right?
So if you're the Dutch pair here, Do you have a sense that Israel has pulled back this many imps on you if you were sitting at
I would
this
not.
table? I would
I
not.
would not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
especially
this is also the third of 4 sets in this match, so
right.
there's also not necessarily an urgency to swing or everybody's trying to play their best bridge and not go too far off the reservation, presumably.
Adam, you're speaking as an old man. These are still the juniors here, right?
It's
Come
true.
on,
They're
They're
but also,
trying, I agree, but it's hard to do in almost
yeah,
any situation.
it
No,
would be
but
hard
all
to
the players in
tell.
this match are very experienced
It's
and
true.
know
Yes.
what Adam's talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
And board 4, I mean, just looking at the results, objectively, the results of North South in this room, they've had normal to goodish results, I would think, from their perspective. Board 4, they made 4 hearts in the South when a very special defense would have beaten it. That was replicated at the other table. So board 6, they got to 5 diamonds, no problems there. They've gotten to 2 slams that were in the right spot. So I think that they probably, even if they were worried, they wouldn't be worried on this card so far.
So that means the Dutch pair at the other table would be worried, if anything.
They would.
Yes.
Yeah, I would think so. Yes.
They've definitely had some results that they would expect to lose imps on.
Adam brings up a very important point here, though, which is in the third quarter. It's very important to play steady even when the quarter's going really poorly, not to swing too much here, especially when you're in a lead.
Yes. Well, and to the question in chat, I think these two teams definitely could be the strongest in the semis, but certainly the other semifinal is they're not slouches, right? Singapore beat USA 1 yesterday and had played very well, and of course Poland has their usual sort of strong junior team. So I would say all 4 teams are quite strong, and this matchup certainly is everybody at this table has been playing for upwards of 10, maybe even 15 years, and I've known pretty much everybody at this table since for at least that long myself. So yeah.
Adam, you say their usual strong junior team for Poland. Are there countries that just have traditionally had really strong junior programs, and do you attribute that to anything?
So yes, definitely.
I think the 2 teams at this table have had always good junior teams.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's correct. So my mental list I would say the front runners for those, right, are the Netherlands, Israel, and Poland, right, are the 3 countries that if somebody told you that there was a semifinals of a of a bridge championship going on, you could certainly not be faulted for guessing that there would be teams or team members from those 3 countries.
So, Asaf, can you tell us about the junior program in Israel? Do you think that there's some things going on there to give rise to so many great junior players?
Yes, so there was very good work by several teachers who taught bridge in schools. And many of the younger players in this team are the excellent product of this program. And from the point people were taught bridge, the basics of bridge in school or at home, there was active mentorship by experienced players that really elevated people's excitement with bridge and competence at playing bridge. So it's been a very well-run program by the Israeli Bridge Federation. And it's somewhat easy, I think, at least in Israel and the Netherlands. They're so geographically small to get all the talent in the same place.
Interesting.
So it's a challenge that the US faces, and Poland does face as well. So I don't know how they do it.
Bridge in schools is something that we've always been trying to do. I know Robert is probably intimately familiar with all of those efforts.
Yes.
It's
It is a challenge in the US, as Asaf said, geographically. And then also
I
systemic.
think the education system is much harder to tap into in the US, isn't it?
It is, and then also when you do get in, it's harder to scale across states and the entire
Right.
country, right? Because it's locally controlled. That makes
Yeah.
an extremely difficult to replicate processes across the system. So yes,
Yeah.
very jealous of the Dutch and Israeli ability to deploy from one to every school quickly.
Well, there's also, I would say, some amount of even government support, right? That I know it especially for the Dutch. They have a good deal of government support and a good deal of like a lot of their players can take even like I think paid time off to go to attend team practices and things like this.
Yeah.
Where it's treated much like any other, we'll call it sport, right? If you ever want to say that you've can outrun an Olympic athlete, then hi. But having that philosophy of treating it as as a sport, as this is our like representative national team, I think definitely helps.
Yeah, I think the Dutch is exceptional in the amount of sponsorship and government support that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So they can
interesting.
field a very strong team without player-based sponsorship that we have in America and elsewhere.
Right. We have a private
Exactly.
sponsorship model.
Private sponsorship.
Yeah.
I mean, theirs is also private, but the guy doesn't play.
Right. Which is helpful because it means that you can sort of you also just have being able to be on a good team with other strong players is always it's always a good and fun experience and
to field various teams under the same banner too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly.
Although for anybody who's we're talking about how our players paid when they do this professionally, especially at the highest levels. And in the U.S., the typical model is that a sponsor will hire some wonderful players to play with them. The sponsor may also be a wonderful player, but it's also when I explain it to people, I'm kind of explaining that you hire the Yankees and you get to play first base, and that's really cool. Like that's an awesome thing to be able to do. But also, if there's a lot of balls hit to first base, and you're not a very strong player, your team is under a disadvantage compared to the actual Yankees, who are all top level players. So that kind of gives other countries a little bit of a leg up if they don't have a playing sponsorship model.
Yes. I just noticed I have the the title of this match entirely wrong. Let me fix this. I was originally planning to do the
Anna, you won the
U16s
bet. He
and
figured it out beforehand. I thought he was going to go longer. So
yeah, well, because I was originally planning the U16s. I prepared for that, and
Well, Adam, you've been doing an awful lot. Adam was up to what was it? I think we were still talking. It was like 1:30 in the morning your time, and he went to bed and then back up to cover this. So
yes. So and yes, yeah, at least the year and the event were correct. That's true. I have to get some credit. I know what year it is. I don't know where I am necessarily, but I know where they are, and yes.
And then for our audience out there, I've actually emailed the WBF to ask them to please see about putting the U21s up for the fourth segment, since we'll be covering it. So hopefully we'll have some United States coverage later today. But
Yes.
so happy that Adam asked Asaf to join us today. So
Yes,
I'm grateful to have been invited.
Yes, thank you for joining, and I'm glad we had Eliran here yesterday, and I know that he was definitely itching to cover some Israeli teams, so happy we're able to do that at least a little bit, even if he isn't able to join us today. So He's
So I
joining
think
us in the chat.
he's actually commentating in text
Yes,
on BBO,
exactly.
doing a
Exactly.
fantastic job.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So after the club laid this contract could not really be threatened anymore. Maybe there was no good lead this time.
Yes.
The diamond lead could give him a scare, I guess.
Diamond lead certainly would be scary, but I think you probably cover the 9 with the 10, and that will either force the ace or
Well, still,
yeah.
you need to work quite a bit to make it on a diamond lead.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry, I did a little.
Double diamond definitely makes, but a human might not.
This is true, but here at this point, it's it'll be a little. It might be a little bit scary, but Declare will, especially when they lead a heart up and when they see the jack, it's kind of game over. And that should be the end of the defensive tricks here. So yeah, North-South have definitely put together, had a fairly solid card at this table, and probably will be, a little bit surprised that none of their good boards won them imps, and some of their, slightly maybe normal or slightly bad ones lost them imps, but it happens, right? So
I mean, in their shoes, the only board I'd be unhappy with is the stop before spades.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so Declare will play for a squeeze of some sort, but rather than a squeeze, he just has 10 tricks when plays a heart, and the jack will pop up. So kind of would even if East had additional hearts, they would have been sort of show up squeezed anyway. So that will be 10 tricks, and it's good we chose the faster table, which means we get to we'll be able to go over to the other table and watch them close it out as well. And so if you were playing a 15 to 17 no trump, I'm guessing you would not open the West 10 one no, but there I guess here
I would not.
Yes.
Would you, Adam?
Although I know lots of people would.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think I would, but I would. The spots on this hand definitely are tempting. Of course, but
ace king queen tight is not a good recipe.
Yeah, like having all of your honors in your shorter suits is a pretty big downgrade, I think. So I would not. I think plenty of people would at least consider it. But for them, I guess this one no trump is 13 to 15 at this vulnerability.
13 to 15.
Yeah.
Having all of your honors in your short suits, and also no possibility for more tricks from your honors, because the ace, king, queen are just what they are. There's no combination. There's no finesse. There's no positionality.
Yes.
I think a lot of newer players think ace, king, queen, this is a very, very good holding. But I think in our minds, it's a little bit of a downgrade because there's no way to get more than 3 tricks out of those 3 large honors.
When I teach mini bridge to total beginning players, they always pick this suit as the trump suit. So just to see how right on dead it is. They'll have a 6-card suit to the 9 and an ace, king, queen. And they always pick the ace, king, queen as their trump suit first.
Yeah, it's a common theme. Which trump plays better? Like when you have 2 5-card suits, which one should you choose? And it's not clear.
But just to be clear to any newer players who are watching, the longer suit is almost always the better trump suit. So
yes.
No matter how good your honors are.
Length before strength.
Yes, absolutely.
So if they switch to a spade and persist with spades, he might take lots of tricks, like 9 tricks.
yeah, this is. I mean, they didn't today. They don't really have a way to untangle their heart suit anyway.
Your
Right.
hearts.
So
presumably, if Ami guesses the position correctly, North will have to surrender 2 diamonds in the end.
right.
As he is going to pitch a spade, so yeah.
Tough discard problem at match points.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think in match points, Claire doesn't really have a choice but to make 9 tricks.
Would you pitch a heart at match points and do something? All the same, you're gonna get.
I don't think it could win.
Yeah, I think you just have to pitch a spade and.
Yeah.
And surrender eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean and certainly if North pitches a heart here, right, that's going to be a huge red flag for Declarer that hey,
right.
You know they're
As a matter of fact,
they're trying to get out of their own way. They probably are not going to be successful in doing so.
Yeah, it's not even.
North was going to pitch a heart. They should have pitched both hearts, probably, playing their partner for the 10 of hearts. So
yes, exactly.
So again, the reason why this is more interesting at match points than imps is that at imps, there's no possible way that East-West are going to go down in one no trump. They just have too much stuff. But at match points, every over trick that they make is potentially more points against the field. You could score better than some more pairs. So at match points or at board a match, each of these over tricks would be life or death. And North would be suffering mightily, trying to figure out how to limit the number of over tricks. Some people think that makes match points more exciting. Some people think that makes match points not bridge. And then there's every other variant in between that.
some people think that on days 9 and 10, no match point should be allowed. So.
Is that your view, Robert?
No comment. No comment.
Days 9 and 10 of a long bridge tournament are a tough time to be playing match points with every over trick or under trick.
Quarter match is brutal on that at the end. I mean, the Risinger at the end.
The Risinger is just it's a grueling event in and of itself. Certainly,
Yeah.
even if you put it at the beginning of the tournament, but certainly by the end, it's like yes. Yes.
Well, here comes Israel.
Yes,
We're
they
with-
picked up another 3 imps on board 8. So the other table played 2 spades, 1 down, and the board where they did well to stop in 3 hearts. So they've put together a very nice string of imps on these boards to yeah. And in the U16s, we can see that there are 2 comparisons to come in. As of right now, score is 87 to 102. So USA 2 is leading by 15 with 2 boards to compare.
So in the U16s, did they get to select their opponents and build their brackets as they did in the other divisions?
I believe they did. However, there's a rule that the USA teams, if both USA teams have to make the semifinal, then they also they have to play each other, right?
Any 2 teams from a single country.
Exactly. exactly. So yes,
Adam gave his first-person perspective on that experience. So
yes. So USA 2 team that's leading right now is Daniel Bailoff, Jack Bode, Claire Cow, Ethan Derman, Avery Silverstein, and Jeffrey Yin, and Kent McNoshi as coach. So Kent has been doing a great job over there from what I've seen and heard, and that's very exciting for them, especially given that they had such a close call even making it in.
well, clearly they've been playing with good momentum, because if you're last after 3 rounds and then make it in, your final rounds have been pretty good. So
they pushed the second to last board just now. So there's only one more comparison to come in, and it looks like a fairly solid result for the USA 2 team, which means that they will likely be prevailing. So very well done to them, and they will be in the finals of the U16s tomorrow.
They play only 3 sets?
Yes, the U16s is only playing 3 sets, unfortunately. I was hoping that they would play 4 and that we could show them or
I think
that
it makes
we could
more
show them
sense.
this set or something like that. But I'm very hopeful that we will be able to watch them tomorrow, at least for one set, and then probably the USA 2 under 21s. Hopefully, I don't want to speak too soon, but they're having a nice set against China in the U21s. So hopefully they will continue to do so.
So Declare has a small guess here whether to duck the second card or not. Oh, that's a surprise. I was sure he's going to duck it.
Yeah, it does seem kind of odd. Although if the spots are honest, as it turns out, with the 9 of hearts with West, they will still be blocked, right?
Yeah. And the spots are honest. They do lead the third, fifth border suit.
Yes. But so the reason for ducking, right, is that it even though you may give up an extra heart trick, you have enough. All of your other suits are very solid outside of that, and the main danger here is that the opponents can run a bunch of hearts in your face. So even though you give up a heart trick, because it looks like because West may have led from an ace or may have led from an honor, right? They might have led high if they didn't have an honor. So, given that West raised, they almost certainly would have led high, without an honor. And so, by ducking, you actually block the suit.
So as it happens, the suit was born blocked.
yes.
You couldn't possibly unblock it.
Right. And I think it is right to duck the heart, right? If they manage to figure out to lead low from 3 small, they got you. But even still, you're not without chances, right?
Yeah, and even if the hearts don't come in, the contract is pretty safe.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you get the hearts wrong, you're probably going to make. I think that was his reasoning on the actual hand.
Do East-West play upside down suit preference here, or what's our?
No.
I guess there's 3 suits in play, so maybe low is clubs or diamonds, not spades. On the third, the spot card under the 9 of hearts there, right? I would be trying to help partner what to shift.
I think you should basically be choosing one at random. Don't think you should be.
Right. I mean, ideally there can be one of them that perhaps is, screaming for,
right.
The high one screams for the high, and the low is do something intelligent or something.
Right. There's probably a default that is, either the lowest or, you have something that sort of says I have no strong preference here, and you have something that says no, really, like I'm screaming, please do this, right? And so we have the final comparison on board 14. USA 1 picked up 2 imps, so they will wind up losing by about, I believe it's 13 to USA 2. So very well done to USA 2, and good luck to both teams. This USA 1 will have a bronze medal match tomorrow. It looks like, I believe, against Estonia, and USA 2 will face Poland in the finals. Speaking of, random, if you were calling out one of the countries again, it will face Poland. So, yes. So,
Adam, did you play on U16s, or did U16s exist when you were playing?
U16s did not exist when I was eligible. I believe they were introduced in, I want to say 2017, 2018-ish?
2015 in Europe.
2015, really? Okay.
They had a world championship in 2016.
Right. This was in Istanbul. Yes.
Maybe there was one in Istanbul too. Right. Israel couldn't come to Istanbul. We had some issues.
Right. I know that was a challenging one. Yeah.
So maybe there was one in Istanbul. I was talking about Salsa Maggiore, 2016.
Right. Yes. So in chat, Hakan says, they were introduced in 2016. So
2016.
So that was, I guess, after I was eligible, because I was 20 in 2016. I played actually, when I was 13, I played U26, and then I played U21 for a few years. And
you got demoted.
Yes. The U26 was was an open year in Istanbul in 2009, and then U21s after that for a while, and then of course U26s. So, yeah. And Asaf, are you still eligible as well, or you're slightly aged out?
Well, there were two spots for people born in '97, and Amin Oren took them.
Aha, I see. I suppose that's fair as a partnership.
That's fair, yeah.
They are certainly a very strong partnership, and have played together for quite a while as well, right?
For quite a while, yeah.
So interesting. We've seen, this is, I think, the fifth or sixth time that we've seen a 6-5 hand that has a decision of whether to open 3 or whether to open 2 and maybe consider bidding again if the situation allows for it, right? And here we see,
I think in hearts you just have to open 3, and in spades you do what you feel like.
Yeah, that's reasonable, and I think vulnerability and the sort of
this discussion applies to all vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. I guess if I was white, I would be tempted to open 3 just because 3 spades takes up so much room, and if I had to get one bid to sort of get my hand off my chest, it would be spades, right?
Yeah.
So here we see takeout double, planning presumably to double and bid in some way. 3 spades probably showing some amount of, obviously a game force probably with 4 hearts. But even if East-West, go looking for slam, they'll find out they're off 2 key cards, and that should put a stop to any ambitions there.
Guess 3 spades here might be 4 hearts and no spade stopper as well.
Very possible. Yes.
I don't think we play it this way.
Okay.
Key card for diamonds. They're missing a.
Uh-oh.
So, do you think 4 diamonds is showing hearts or diamonds? Because it looks like he responded for diamonds, and now, oh no, he responded. Yeah, I don't know what he responded for.
Well, it looks like perhaps 4 trump was key card in hearts, and he got the dreaded 2 with the queen response, which got them too high.
That seems likely.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, over 5 spades, there's not really a sort of eject button that would get you that low.
The quick 5 hearts and hope they pass. No.
Right, insufficient 5 hearts.
Yeah.
hope
Bidding
that
with
the rhythm
tablets.
Right.
Yes.
I hope that, yes, with tablets, that's a little harder.
Well, but again, of course, assuming one of the things you're missing is the King of Hearts, it's just a finesse. It's not so bad.
Yes.
Here's-
Yes. Well, right. I mean, it in isolation, yes, but when North has preempted and you're finessing the preemptor for the King of Hearts, it doesn't feel great, I have to say.
I agree completely. He would definitely have preferred to bid 5 hearts, but he's not thinking 6 hearts is necessarily hopeless.
Right. It's not hopeless yet, but it will be very shortly.
Yeah.
So, bit unfortunate. I think East perhaps could have anticipated this problem and looked at their one key card and said, without the Queen of Trump, and said, I can't afford to bid for now Trump as key card in hearts, because when partner has 2 with the Queen, we will be too high, right? So East probably should have forced themselves to to find some other action that was not key card but still forward going, and left it up to West to either bid key card or worst case sort of have a sort of queue bidding auction and try to judge
An argument for kickback here. That's what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. Like, kickback certainly solves these problems. Knowing when it is kickback is, of course, a problem.
A whole other problem. Yes.
I was going to say, Robert, are you a kickback advocate? Are you a kickback truther?
No, but I'm willing to work with partner on it, but need some good agreements. So.
No, we only play kickback over minors, not over hearts.
Mm-hmm. Well, over diamonds is honestly the hardest one, right?
Yeah, but
yes, over clubs it's pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Who wants
hearts? A lot of times it's not too bad.
We really like the 4 spades as a transfer to key cards. We find it very useful.
Interesting.
Force.
So, if you talk to my husband about any convention that he despises, it would be kickback. And there's a story that goes along with it from my father when they were playing together in the World Open Pairs in Bali. And my father insisted that they play kickback. And Chris said, please let's not. And then they had a sort of spectacular accident, a spectacular kickback accident that got them to 7 no trump, missing 2 aces. Only 1 cashed against them. Was still not a good result.
No.
Preventing them from being on the podium. So if anybody is out there thinking, oh, I'm moving up in bridge, I'm now like maybe an intermediate or an advanced intermediate, I'm going to add kickback to my arsenal, I would say that that's a scary one, even for the people who were about to be on the podium of the World Open Pairs and then had a kickback accident.
Yeah.
Yes.
And certainly the convention that is, it comes with great danger, let's just say. I see a lot of accidents.
Yeah, I'm a big kickback fan, but I enjoy danger and adventure, I suppose. I think that, in a casual partnership, it's not a great idea. But if you go through and discuss a lot of clear rules and guidelines for when something is and is not key card, and both sides are sort of on the same page about that most of the time, I think it is worth it. The thing is, you need to, every one kickback accident you have sets you back, many instances of bidding key card. So you really, you need to be able to have a pretty good hit rate to be able to be successful.
In Strasbourg, Adam, I think we spent 3 mornings talking about kickback. So
yes,
yeah.
Well, and they were useful because we had quite a few of them come up.
I recently played with a new partner, Steve Robinson. I played a pair game with him, and we had never played before, and I was very excited to play with him. And I suggested that we play very little, but one of the things that he insisted on was kickback. And I lived in fear the entire day.
Yes.
I was trembling from the top of my head to the bottom of my shoes.
So this table is finished. This was the last board here. And so we'll hop over to the other table. And I'm going to try to see about getting some of the U16 players in here. I'm not sure whether that's actually going to happen or not, but let's see what I can do here.
So Adam, I've been
Yes.
working on it in the background. You
Amazing.
keep doing this. Yep, I'm working on it.
Great.
I'm sending
Thank you,
over a
Tracey.
Zoom link, and you're welcome.
Amazing.
Thank you, Tracey. Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Tracy.
Yes. And yes, so Tracey is here. Her video doesn't quite fit on the screen in this setup. I'm probably going to try to switch to a slightly different Zoom layout if and when we get them on, so we can have everybody show. But yes. But Tracey has been incredibly helpful in organizing and keeping things running smoothly. So it's been great to have her as part of this, especially all weekend. So, and so we're over at the other table now for the last 4 boards of this segment of the match here, and then we will be back for the 4th segment as well today, and that starts at 11 a.m. Eastern. And so we'll see how if I guess I'm not sure what their no Trump range is here, but West has decided this is not in it, whatever it is, and yes, okay, and. So here, this one club opener will allow the opponents into the auction a bit more. What sort of becomes of that is not clear. I have to say, as West,
very tempting.
It crossed my mind to pass one diamond double, especially with South being a passed hand. Like,
oh yeah, that would be super fun.
Yeah, like I mean, I think at match points it might even be right. Like
vulnerable at match points, I think it's clearly right.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
If they're vulnerable, I mean.
Right. It's a surprising sort of situation, but so I find that as people overcall more and more aggressively, it often pays to catch them speeding a little bit. And
does that mean against juniors you should pass more often here?
I think honestly, I think the modern overcalling style is so aggressive that anybody under the age of 50, I think, should be playing in one diamond doubled.
Well, so just for people who are thinking about whether their diamond spots are good enough, one of the big key distinctions here is that the long and strong diamonds are underneath that diamond overcaller. So I would say if the person behind the declarer had ace jack 10 4th of diamonds or ace jack 10 8 of diamonds, it would be a total no-brainer at almost any score to let this go. Under is what makes this particular hand exciting, because the declarer is going to be in a position to potentially overruff or just kind of beat the honors of the good diamonds here.
So once bet is presumably a transfer, and they one.
That would make sense.
Double is, you think, 4 more hearts, and one heart is 2 or 3 hearts, you think?
Yeah, in the Dutch double don't always over like 1 diamonds or double 1 with a strong hand.
Mm-hmm. Which is very useful because it means that you can stop a bit lower when you have the strong.
Yeah, I like that style a lot.
17 to 19. Yes. And Ellie in the chat said, talking about the Israeli coach is Eldad, who of course many of us in this chat know quite well. So yes, Eldad is fantastic, and certainly this team has done well under his coaching. So.
So Eldad desperately wanted to be there, I believe, for this wonderful event and to support the Israeli juniors, but he is in the process of becoming a father for the 2nd time. His daughter is due, I want to say today or tomorrow.
Aha.
Last time I heard it was today or tomorrow. Yeah.
So we are very excited for Eldad for many reasons. The success of his junior teams, perhaps at this exact moment, the least of them. But you know,
Yes.
Developing a future junior team at the moment. So
Right. Well, he's working on all parts of the junior pipeline.
of the junior
so,
program. Right?
Yes. Yes. So this should be, again, this one no Trump. There's not really, maybe North South can work out to untangle their hearts a little bit, but it's most likely going to be making 2 or 3 again as well. Interestingly, Declarer chose to win the first diamond with the 10, concealing the 8 because he wanted the opponents to continue playing diamonds, right? And because the 8 was always going to be played on the king anyway, there wasn't really, he might have even won it with the jack, because there's not any reason to win it with the cheapest one when that cheapest one is going on the king anyway the next round. And had he won it with the jack, perhaps there might have been a little bit of ambiguity for North. That's unlikely because the spots are pretty readable. But I would imagine North will. Oh, okay. Shows what I know.
So maybe he did win it with the jack. It's hard to imagine
With
North
10
playing this way.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. I mean, you know that South does not have the jack.
Right.
When it goes small at trick 1. So I think it seems like we're hopefully going to get the U16s to come join us in a few minutes. Tracey my phone has been buzzing with emails and texts and group chats and other fun stuff that Tracey is helping to put together. So
amazing.
Yes.
It'll be really exciting to congratulate them on what they've achieved already.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, this will be an imp to the Netherlands, probably an avoidable imp. Had North realized that South could not have, or that South had to have the ace jack of diamonds remaining.
Yes, and North had to clear the hard suit.
Yes.
And exit the street.
Exactly, because that sort of gets them out of their own way,
Yeah.
and prevents the ending that we saw in the other room that Declarer didn't fully take advantage of. But
Right.
yes, so we have 3 more boards to go at this table, and that will be.
We're definitely set up for an exciting fourth quarter, though, between these two countries.
Absolutely. And we, depending on what we wind up getting from from the view graph, I'm hoping that we will be able to show the USA 2 China match in the under 21s. But if not, then we may come back and join this match for one more set. So.
Who is joining you, Adam, for the commentary for the next set? Adam, who's joining you for the commentary?
You may not. Adam is frozen for the moment.
Oh, okay. Robert, are you coming back? Asaf?
I am not.
I am not.
Okay.
I think, let me check and tell you guys who it's. I know Steve Weinstein. and
Yes.
And who's the other person?
Ida Gronqvist.
Ida Gronqvist.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you guys are in for a treat. Anybody who's sticking around, it's going to be a wonderful commentary.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I very much have been. It's been great to be able to get sort of a wide swath of bridge players, and especially on the younger side, to be able to join. So.
Yeah.
So, question for you, Adam: is Steve Weinstein on the younger side of bridge players?
I think he might still be. He's pushing it these days, but he's in the medium range of bridge players.
we'll make him an honorary youngster for the purpose of these commentaries. How about that?
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Well, I think he was not eligible for the seniors, and Bobby was. So, yes.
And Bobby's definitely in the younger stratum.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, very, very true. So,
Maybe it's mentality over age. So.
yes. Let me see. Yes. So, this board here, we'll probably see if it's a fairly flat 3 now. I would think even, Declara might choose to duck the heart, in this room. The defense does best to lead the 9 of hearts, but it's really hard to know that on opening lead, right? That you need to sort of unblock and get out of your own way here.
Players shouldn't try such things.
Right. Well, here, Declare, just shoots out 3 now immediately. Doesn't give them a chance to raise. Which actually will maybe make their problem a little bit harder at trick 2, because now West might lead a low heart even from 3 small.
Yep.
But, assuming that West does not find the... I mean,
What are
the
the
9 of
pros and
hearts
cons?
is very deep.
Yeah, each of the heart leads here, the ace, the 9, and the 5. Each of them seem to have some.
Yeah, I think the ace, when you know that your right hand opponent is the one with heart honors, right, it feels not advisable. And your 9, you don't know that partner has all of these heart spots, and so you can imagine that perhaps North, you move the Jack of Hearts into East, right, and now you may actually do quite well by having led a low heart. You switch the 8 of Hearts and the 3 of Hearts with South, and the Jack of Hearts, and something with whatever you give partner, King Jack 8, empty 5th, and now so here Declare as well, not trying to block the heart suit necessarily. Can't quite read what's going on, that maybe he would have led from 3 small, but today he can duck the 9 of hearts, and that will solve all of his problems.
And I mean, he's very likely to survive any layout. He has too many tricks.
Right. He has so many different chances that, perhaps ducking the heart is a bit of a position. And I would imagine he'll probably play ace of diamonds and duck a diamond, and it's worth playing the ace of diamonds just in case there's a stiff honor somewhere. Then you play a low diamond to avoid setting up too many tricks for the opponents. If you are wrong, he chose to play the king, which is probably roughly equivalent, but maybe there's a few cases where it loses a little bit. And this will quickly bring him up to 9 tricks. So that, yes, and the next board should be interesting because our enemy did get too high at the other table. So we'll see how the Dutch pair handles it. It may even depend on what North chooses to preempt, right? If they choose 3 spades, for example, it might get the auction a little bit high before the East-West pair gets to even sort of show slam interest.
So preempting style, 2 versus 3 level preempts. I've become used to a style where the 2 level is a little bit more real than the 3 level. So if you open 3 spades, that would be, tending vulnerable is a little bit different, but tending to be a worse hand than the two spade opener vulnerable.
I think vulnerable, it's completely opposite. The three spades is a very real opening for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the modern style is very much in line with that. That that a three spade bid not vulnerable would be pretty suspect, but vulnerable, you mean it. And I think North might actually bid four spades on this auction, or at least make an action double.
Maybe
right?
double, yeah.
Right, like so. This is something that when you've preempted, if you then sort of back in with double, rather than playing this as just purely penalty, you essentially play it as I want to bid, and it gives your partner a chance to pass if they had in fact had a trump stack or wanted to.
I'm quite surprised they didn't make an I want to bid double here, actually.
Mm-hmm.
They've probably seen some three spades.
Right, they've maybe seen South's three spade bids before. Yes, because this one leaves a little bit to be desired, but because East gave West a lot of latitude here, because they bid four hearts under pressure, right?
Yeah.
That maybe there's some hands West could have where slam is good, but they need an awful lot, both in terms of key cards and in terms of just overall high cards and fillers. That when they bid game under fire, they don't really have another way to bid for hearts here. They have to they have to be given a little bit of flexibility to not be buried from partner.
He might play ace of hearts and a heart here because he can see that the diamond lead was likely a singleton.
Mm-hmm.
So the more dangerous thing here is ruts than worrying about winning the finesse or not.
Right. One, and he's quite sure that he's making his contract if not, if there aren't a bunch of roughs and terrible things happening. So this makes a lot of sense. So this will be 11 imps back to the Netherlands and bring them up to 90 for the set and make it a 19 imp match. So Israel had a very good rally of quite a lot of imps earlier in the set and giving 13 back here. So still Israel has picked up 15 on the set, which is certainly a necessary thing to do if they're going to come back in the fourth quarter. So. And we'll see. Hopefully, get a final board shortly.
So what awaits the winners of these championships? I feel like I'm often asked, do people play for money? What's the glory, or what's the reason to compete in these championships and try to win them?
Medals, medals and glory, and you can't melt the medals down for.
I mean, you can, but
okay.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of glory, especially this U26 event. I think is sort of the premier junior event internationally,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of recognition and respect that goes along with doing well in these events and especially winning them.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's very much a prestige thing. Winning or even medaling in a world championship is a pretty cool thing to be able to do.
And we've seen lots of players of open team caliber participating in this event.
Yes, it's certainly not a soft field. Like there's, I mean, most of the players we've been watching for the last couple days, even, have either are on the open team, have achieved open team or open level success. Like, it's really, it's cool to see that there's such a high standard of bridge, even in a junior event, right?
Yeah.
And
that's an interesting play problem, honestly.
It is. Well, and the other table didn't give them a spade lead, so
right.
They had a little bit easier go of it. And so now declare with this club position, right? They know that West is the danger hand, and they have a couple entries to dummy. So I think what they might try to do is, rather than play a club out of their hand and let East unblock, they might actually try to cross to dummy twice and lead clubs up towards their hand, where if East plays the queen, then they can duck it and keep West off of lead. And if East plays low, then they can win the ace, cross back to dummy, and do it again.
I mean, this necessitates the hard finesse, which already gives them 9 tricks.
Yeah,
so they do need the hard finesse anyway.
It actually didn't necessarily. I guess no. I guess it did. It did. You're right. Since there are 9 tricks, I guess we won't even bother with the club suit. But yeah, like.
So just a little update. I have not been able to get a hold of Kent, but we do have a couple of the kids, but their phone is about ready to die. So they're trying to borrow another device to come in.
Okay.
So Kent, not Kent, but Jack and Avery are together.
Okay.
So
great. Yeah. So Jack and Avery are playing together, and I believe have played almost all of the boards in the last few days. So they've done very well both here, as well as I believe they won the GNTC in Chicago. So they've had a couple nice results recently.
I believe so, and I believe that they've been entering as sort of a pair and with teammates the major open events at the Nationals. So they got to play, I believe, the nickel team in one of their events. It's been fun. They're testing themselves out against the best in the world consistently.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. They made, and chat saying they made the semis of the mini spin gold as well. So they've been playing against good opponents and getting a lot of practice in both as a partnership and against strong opponents, and that pays off. So this is the end of this set, and we see Israel did pick up 15. So we will certainly be. I'll try to at least follow this match on another screen at a minimum. During the final set, and perhaps we'll even be covering it depending on what we get from the view graph.
And could you show us the scores, Adam?
Yes,
from all of the matches.
That is a good idea. Let's see. So in the open tab. So in the U26s, we have Singapore versus Poland is quite close. And so they, Singapore looks like picked up a little bit, but are stuck small. And then, of course, our Netherlands-Israel match that we've just finished watching. Netherlands is up by 19 with 1 set to go. In the U21s, USA 2 had a very nice third quarter against China and extended their lead to, 51, it looks like. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to convince them to put that on ViewGraph, since they try to prioritize matches that are very close, and I'd be very happy for it not to be close, because looks like USA 2 has had a good day so far, and so the USA 2 team they beat USA 1 yesterday, so they've had a bit of a tough KO so far, right? Beating USA 1 and now playing China, who upset Poland yesterday, and so they've had a very good week, and let's see, in the U16s, the USA 1 USA 1 did lose to USA 2. So USA 1 will be playing for the bronze medal tomorrow against Estonia. And USA 2 will be playing for the gold against Poland, which should be awesome. So big congrats to USA 2 for making the finals. And then, of course, good luck to both teams tomorrow for hopefully we can get 2 medals from the under-16s, which would be great. And then, so that's sort of, I guess we can have a look in the under-26 women's. Norway's losing to Poland by about 30, and France is up handily against the Netherlands. And finally, in the U31s, it looks like China and Belgium are very close, and India and France is leading by a fair amount. And to answer the question in chat, we're not actually sure what we're going to be streaming for the last segment yet, because it's going to depend on what we get in turn from BBO and from the ViewGraph operators. I'm hoping that we'll be able to do a U.S. team, and if not, then we may continue following this Netherlands-Israel match, because it's a lot of good bridge and a lot of good bridge players and fun people. Yeah. So we're we will see. It's sort of anybody's guess at this point, and I'm hopeful that tomorrow at least we'll be able to sort of have ViewGraph of all of the finals. In which case, we shouldn't have to. There shouldn't be any mystery as to what's being shown. Since this is the end of this set, Tracey, have you had any success being able to reach them?
As they just finished and Kent has a lot of stuff going on, the kids don't have charged phones. So we will try to maybe have them come in after the next segment, right? So, okay. Or you and I will do something later today and maybe, be able to post that on social media. So we will try.
They could pop in the middle of the next segment, right? Because they're not playing. They're done playing. So if they're around.
They are. Yep, I'm trying.
Yeah.
So
yes.
I texted Kent as well. He may not have his phone. So.
Right.
Yeah. Joe is in contact with Kent, and it doesn't sound like Kent's going to come on right now. And Bill Seagraves has been helping out because he plays with a lot of the kids. And Jack and Avery were keen on doing it, but they didn't have a device with any power.
Yes. Well, I believe they do have power in the Netherlands. So it does feel like
adapters and power
true.
chargers on you at the playing site.
Yes.
Thinking in advance. These are U16 kids, right?
Yes. Well,
I think about whether to play for the financial squeeze. So
I would say don't sell all humans short, Tracey. Anybody could have a phone die.
Well, yes, yeah. Oh my gosh, my partner last year in Poland never had a charged phone ever. It was a common thing of getting his phone charged. Asaf, can we ask you are you available for the next segment in case they don't show a USA team and we can bring you back? Yeah, because it's really amazing having you with us and giving us insight on your team, and
awesome. So,
okay, so we'll keep you in the wings and contact you if
you know how to reach me.
Yes, we send a messenger pigeon just across the
And thank you so much for joining us. And and guys, everybody that's out there watching, I cannot say enough about Adam and all the work he's done. Like all of the views that you guys are seeing that he's set up, it is not an easy thing to accomplish. And he's done a really amazing job of it all. Although he's sitting there playing with it all at the moment.
Yes, I'm
the Twitch
moving
is
it
all
so
changing.
that we can see everybody. There we go.
I was fine being off camera. I get up at 5 a.m. to be helping Adam, so I'm not really camera ready. So totally cool being in the background.
Nonetheless, it's much appreciated. So
Yeah, thanks, Adam.
Yes.
Keep up all the good work. And,
Thank you. Thank you.
For sure.
Yes. Awesome. So I guess we'll go ahead and I guess cut the stream here, and we'll be back at 11, so about 20 minutes from now, with at least Steve Weinstein, Ida Gronqvist, myself, and Tracey, and perhaps Asaf as well, and perhaps some of the U16 kids as well. So we will see where things take us today. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Hope this has been fun and good, and we will see you all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Right as I say that.
Hang on.
Okay.
Bill.
Okay.
He clicked our link.
Got it. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream then. I will see you all.
Okay.
Soon. All right.
Okay. Bill.